Okay, so today's video is a little bit different than anything I've covered before, and that is, does marijuana fit into a healthy lifestyle? There is not a yes or no answer to this question. Like so many things in life, it depends on the person, it depends on the circumstance, it depends on how you respond to it, it depends on why you're using it, how, so many things. So I'm just gonna start off saying that I've wanted to talk about this for quite some time. I've been scared, but I think I mentioned it briefly on my Instagram story yesterday, and I got quite a bit of positive responses, and people were saying that they hate that there's a stigma around this. They hate that whenever people find out that they're into fitness and they also smoke weed, that's a shocking thing. And that's been my experience too. When people find out that I smoke weed and they know the type of person I am, they know that I'm super into fitness, I'm a super hard worker, like I get up at 4 a.m. every day, I'm a workaholic, not what you think the stereotypical stoner is. So I think for that reason, we need to talk about it. There's not enough of like an honest conversation, people don't talk about it enough is basically what I'm trying to say. Because it can be used as a positive, helpful tool. It depends on the individual. So I'm gonna kind of go over my experience and then other thoughts and things. So basically, I started because I was having serious sleep issues. This was about 4 years ago. This was when my mental health struggles were really starting to like get pretty bad. So I couldn't sleep. It was like 7 months. I literally did not have a proper night's sleep. I was going crazy. My mom at the time, she had to start driving me to work because I could not sleep. And as most people know, if you're that sleep deprived, it's actually more dangerous than driving drunk. So yeah, and I had tried a lot of other natural remedies. I had tried melatonin. I tried even like non-natural sleep ones, like I think like I don't know what those, but you can buy them from the grocery store. It's like NyQuil sleep stuff. Anyways, I tried all that stuff. None of it worked. And like I was getting into a pretty dark place. Like so initially that was why I started, to help me sleep. And then from there I realized like it really did help calm me down. I have diagnosed depression and generalized anxiety disorder, and there's been some bad times, and definitely having the option of smoking some weed, calming down when I'm in absolute hysterics, it's worked. It's not that I'm reliant on it. I can survive without it, but it is a very, very helpful tool it has been a very helpful tool for pushing me into the right direction. So I still use it to sleep. Sometimes if I'm really, really panicked during the day, I'll have a little bit, it'll just calm me right down, and then I'm like laser focused again, and I can get back to my regular tasks. So I'm not like the stereotype where it's like you smoke and you're just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna be lazy now. It's like, okay, I smoked, I feel sane, now I can focus on my life and focus on the things that are important to me, which is working on my business, giving my clients helpful information that they need. You can't do that when you're in shambles, and yeah. So for me, it has been extremely, extremely helpful in that way. And I don't think for everyone it is necessarily the best option. Everyone responds differently. Like for example, my boyfriend doesn't smoke. He just feels kind of sick from it. He doesn't feel so great. I've had other friends like that as well. And then I know other people like me where they respond really, really well. So everyone is different. I'm not coming on here to be like, you all should smoke weed. It's the answer to all your problems. For me, it has been extremely helpful. It has been life-changing. But for some people, it's not gonna be helpful. For some people, it's just gonna make them really lazy and they're not gonna do what they gotta do. So that is the main part of the story. In terms of health matters, I think right now we're so early on that there's not a lot of reliable studies because you see conflicting things. Somebody DM'd me, this was the only negative response I got. They were like, oh, a lot of doctors around the world would say you're really not smart for doing that. And I was like, so those same doctors are prescribing people medication that they become addicted to and they overdose and they die. So yeah, that makes sense. And same as how alcohol, you can die from too much alcohol, but you can't die from too much weed. Really makes sense. This is like something like if you get me talking, I'll get fired up because it's like, tell me how if I drink multiple nights in a row, me personally, I will literally be a mess. I'll be crying, my emotions, everything will just get so out of whack. I'll feel awful. Whereas smoking, no problem. So it's really dumb in my opinion that alcohol is way more accepted than it. Luckily I live in Canada, so it's legal here. It's not a problem. But yeah, I just think we need to not be so like taboo about it. I think there just needs to be more like open conversations of people sharing their positive experiences. Again, some people will share their negative experiences and that's totally fine. But if you're, it goes back to the thing about like, oh, it's not healthy. Those same people probably have other unhealthy habits like drinking, even like certain supplements. A lot of supplements aren't regulated and are not healthy. Some pre-workouts, like those are pretty freaking bad. I have those too. But so it's like really, you kind of have to weigh the differences. So even if somebody came out with very clear evidence and that was pointing towards like some downsides for weed and your health, for me, the benefits mentally have outweighed the bad. It's just like when someone wants to go on like antidepressant medication, which I am on as well. It's like, yes, there's side effects, but if you're suicidal and you're literally, you might kill yourself, I think taking the risk of the side effects and going on a medication is a little bit better. So, that's how I feel. Yeah, so it's like, if you don't really need it, I'm not telling you to do it. Yeah. Quickly gonna touch on, just because I get this question, anytime I've mentioned it, I do get this question. So munchies, people are like, how do you handle that? And that is the only downside for me. That is the only downside to weed because there have been times where I've eaten a fuck ton because of it. But to be honest, even before I started smoking weed, like my binge eating issues started long before I smoked weed. Anyways, so what you can do. So I think the main thing is no matter what you do, you gotta plan. So I wrote down 2 different things that I do. So one tip is save say you're gonna be smoking before bed. You would just save a large portion of your calories for that time. So it's really funny because I've been sharing this tip on Instagram for at least a year. I've been saying, oh, if you're someone who struggles with overeating at night, it can really help to save a lot of your daily calories for nighttime so that when you're having those cravings, you have something to eat. But I never shared the part where I came up with that because at nighttime is when I have the munchies. So nighttime is when I have the munchies, obviously, because that's when I smoke. So that is what I do. So you can, like I said, just save a large, nice meal. Like I would have a dinner and then a healthy dessert. That's been very, very helpful. Other option is even to just finish all your food before you get high, because then you're done. So for me, as long as there's a clear, concise plan. So let's say that my daily calorie goals are 2,000 calories and I've smoked some weed and I'm still at only 1,500 calories. High me will reason with myself and be like, no, like we should eat like 2,500 plus today, like, and I'll come up with like a really good reason and I'll be like, yeah, that makes sense. And then the next day I'm like, what the fuck? So I still, as long as I pre-plan and like tell myself like, Laura, I do not care what you think when you're high, you are going to stick to your plan. So that's what I'll do. I think it's just some pre-planning. Keeping sugar-free gum, carbonated drinks has helped as well. Another one is they have sugar-free, those Werther's caramel candies, they have sugar-free ones of those. So I think it's like 20 calories for 2 pieces. So again, if you're like high, wanting something a little bit sweet, it's kind of nice to just like suck on a super low calorie candy, because even if you do eat the whole bag, it's only like 60 calories or something like that. I'm gonna talk about this topic more because number one, it's a big part of my life. Number two, I want people to be better educated on it. It's not just like lazy stoner. You can also be a very productive, driven, active stoner. And then I want people to be able to know, like, oh, it's right for some people, it's not right for other people. So yeah, there's so much I could say, there's so much I could cover, there's so much I want to cover. Yeah, that's all. That's it. So I hope you liked this little chat, and that's all. If there's anything specific you would want me to talk about, let me know. Yeah, I'm just gonna wrap this up here. This was like a very impulsive last minute video. I was like, I'm just gonna talk about this before I change my mind. So that's all. Bye guys. Stay high and happy. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna start like, bye.